Good afternoon. Today is the 7th of November. It was going to be the 6th of November, but when I set out to record this video, the weather and the light was so bad that I had to postpone it, which is a shame because I had already done all the research, but never mind. It's time for that monthly dose of entertainment and for me to rant on about the top 10 best-selling cars of October 2019. Before we get started, I just need to remind everybody, if you haven't seen one of these videos before, you won't see any images or footage of the cars in question or tables or anything. That would be far too complicated for me to do. At the moment, I can only just actually edit one clip in front of the other on my software. I don't tend to actually do that. I just tend to use the pause button on my phone when I make these anyway. So if this isn't your kind of video, then obviously you can go and watch something else. That's no problem. But for those of you who wish to stay, we'll be looking into you know, what were the top 10 best-selling cars of October 2019 in Britain. We'll also be looking at what are the trends behind, you know, what sort of fuel the cars use, you know, hybrid, electric, petrol, diesel, that kind of stuff. We'll also be looking at, which is one of my favourite things to do, how each manufacturer is actually doing at the moment. Now, the figures that I use are from the SMMT website. They are the most accurate figures you can get for this sort of stuff. And they all relate to how many cars were sold in October 2019 versus October 2018. We could do a sort of comparison between, you know, last month and this month, but that wouldn't be very fair because the 69 plate came out in September. And that has a huge spike in the market, whereas October doesn't have that same effect. That's why the industry tends to compare year upon year, October 2018 to October 2019. So, for example, when I say that at Alfa Romeo has suffered a 7.49% decline, that means in October 2018 they sold 7.49% more cars than they have done in October 2019. I hope that's simple enough. Overall, the news for October 2019 wasn't as good as September 2019. The market then showed an actual kind of very slight increase in many ways. This is still on the same kind of decline path that we've been seeing for quite a lot this year. It's actually quite pronounced this time. It's overall a 6.74% decline as opposed to October 2018. The top 10 best-selling cars were the Fiesta on 5,138 cars, the Nissan Qashqai in second place on 4,084 cars, the Volkswagen Golf, considering how old that is, that's quite surprising. The Qashqai is not in the first flash of youth, but the Golf's even older. That's on 3,976 cars. Mercedes A-Class on 3,630 cars. The Ford Focus on 3,585 cars. The Ford Kuga, another very old car, that's due to be replaced at the end of this year, on 3,041 cars. Then the Kia Sportage on 2,588 cars. The Volkswagen Tiguan on 2,547 cars. The Volkswagen Polo on 2,191 cars. And then a real surprise, the Range Rover Evoque. It's the first time I've ever seen a Land Rover product in the top 10 on 2,134 cars. I don't know whether that's just the new models just come in or there's some kind of incentive in clearing up the old ones. I'm not really sure, but those are the top 10 bestsellers. If we look more generally at the sort of figures for Propulsion, you know, what sort of fuel they have, diesel is down 28.3%. Petrol, for the first time I've seen it, is down 3.2%. Now that's because full electric cars are up by 151.8%. 151.8%. Now, recently on my channel, I reviewed the MG ZS EV, A lot of you will have already seen that. That's a great car. Yes, it's one of the ones that I think will revolutionise the way in which people do buy cars, because it's an easy size, it's an easy car to drive, it's not very expensive, it has a good warranty, you know, all these things people are looking for. It's also an SUV, and people love SUVs, don't they? Plug-in hybrid, that's down by 1.7%. Since that government grant disappeared recently to plug-in hybrid cars, that they have been falling a bit. Normal hybrid is up by 28.9%, but I'm sure that will be down to things like the Toyota Corolla, because, you know, the vast majority of those are hybrid now. The Camrys are hybrid only as well. There's various others, but those are the ones that spring to mind. Then we've got mild hybrid diesel. Now, this wasn't really a sector that particularly was common back in 2018. But now we've got things like Audi have brought out a mild hybrid diesel. The Kia Sportage, one of the best-selling cars of last month, that has a 2-litre diesel mild hybrid option, and there's lots of others as well. The mild hybrid petrol is only up by 8.7%. That's been technology that's been around for quite a while. There's a Volkswagen Golf that does have a mild hybrid system. The Suzuki Ignis has a mild hybrid option, and so does the Swift. So those have been around for a lot longer, and yet, you know, more and more manufacturers are putting systems in. The new Ford Puma, for example, will exclusively be available as a mild hybrid petrol. So yes, expect those figures to rise, particularly the electric one. That will definitely continue to go up. So let's look at my favourite bit, where I rant about manufacturers and how well they're doing. Abarth, so obviously we go alphabetical order. That's down by 25.93%. They've only really got one model on sale, which is the 595, 695. That needs to be replaced, I'd say, at some point. It's a fun car, but it is very old. The platform dates in 2007. Alfa Romeo, they are down by 7.49%. That's actually not too bad. It's not far off the standard figure, which is 6.74%. Audi, they're up by 16.80%. That might actually be because of the revised A4, which has come out. That looks like quite a nice car, actually. Bentley, they're up by 118.2%. They obviously haven't gotten a memo that you're not supposed to sell many cars in the last month, but so they're doing really well. The Continental Flying Spur that I saw at the Goodwood Festival of Speed back in July, when I was with the Planet Auto YouTube channel. That looks like a great car, actually. It could be to do with that, I don't really know. BMW, they're up by 6.8%. Again, they are really investing in a lot of future technologies. The i3 is something that needs to be replaced quite soon, though. I think that's getting a little bit old, and the range isn't particularly good on an i3 now, so I'm sure they'll sort that out. Citroën, they are down by 23.4%. I don't really know the reason for that particularly, but nevertheless it's the case. Dacia, they're down by 26.7%. Again, I'm not really sure why. They don't really have any new models in the pipeline as far as I know, so that could be doing something to do with it, I'm not sure. DS, though, complete reverse of their sister brand Citroën. They're up by 55.5%, but it must be only due to the fact that the DS3 Crossback is now on sale. It's a very different car to the DS3 that came before it. A car that I have driven, actually, the DS3, which I didn't think was too bad. The Crossback, though, is a small SUV, although it's quite expensive, but clearly it's what people want. Fiat, they're down by 19.4%. They don't really have any new models on the horizon either. You know, the most exciting thing we can say is that the Tipo Saloon's coming out soon, which I'm sure will help them out a lot. We'll get more into the new merger between PSA and Fiat Chrysler in a separate video. But for now, yes, Fiat's models are quite old. I don't find any of them particularly exciting, with the possible exception of Tipo Saloon, because I'm weird. But yes, anyway, Ford are down by 0.5%. That's not really significant, and They seem to have a good sales, despite how the Cougar is old. That seems to be doing okay. The Focus is doing well, so is the Fiesta. They're good cars that Ford make. Hyundai, they're up by 4.55%. That's good. Infiniti, Infiniti were should have a discontinuation about a year ago, and they're still selling some cars, but hardly any now. So they're, by the time we do this next year, Infiniti probably won't have sold any cars at all. Jaguar, they're down by 27.3%. I'm not really sure why that is, but they probably could do with a little boost in their sort of lineup. The XJ is being replaced soon, I think. That might help. Let's see. The Fiat Chrysler brand that does well in this country and does well elsewhere really is Jeep, and that's up by 9.3%. Probably my favourite Jeep of all of them is probably the Renegade. It's got some decent engines in it now. It's not a car I particularly like the look of in the pre-facelift guys, but the post-facelift looks okay. Planet Auto recently had one of those, which was quite nice. With Hyundai and Kia, you tend to find that because they're different parts of the same company, if one company doesn't do as well, the other part does. So with Hyundai being up by 4.55%, Kia are down by 2.4%, despite having a car at number 7 in top 10. But who knows? Land Rover, they're down by 17.1%, despite those huge sales of the Evoque. Interesting. Lexus, they're doing really well. They're up by 62.9%, which is absolutely remarkable. Really remarkable. I know that the crossover SUV fad is, something which helps boost sales, but it can't be just the NX and the UX doing so well. I don't really see many Lexus around, so I don't really know, but yeah, there we go. Lotus, they're down by 50%. I gather there's having some new models come out soon, so that really needs to come as soon as they can get them out. Maserati, another Fiat Chrysler brand, down by 27.3%. That Grand Cabrio, or whatever they call the Grand Sport, I think it is, the coupe one, that's a very old car. That needs replacing, I think. Mazda, they're down by 15.8%. I don't know why Mazda are declining. They make some fantastic cars. The new 3, the 3 Saloon, they're wonderful. Yeah, it's a shame. Mercedes, they're down by 3.4%. It's not particularly significant that, because the overall trend is much higher than that, so not so bad. They've also got the A class that's doing well. MG, predictably, they're up by 6.64%. Once the ZS EV actually gets on proper stream, because at the moment it's really not coming out in the levels people want. People are ordering them, but the shipments haven't quite arrived. It's not as bad as the Kia e-Niro and the Hyundai Kona Electric, but you've still got to wait a few months for your car. So, and this obviously measures not when cars are even made; it measures when they're registered. So, if the cars haven't arrived in the country and they're not at dealers yet, then this sort of huge flood of cars will not register there. So, that's probably why. Mini, they're down by 34.2%. The Mini Electric, which I saw at the Goodwood Revival, that needs to come out soon. That's a good car. Mitsubishi, they're down by 59.9%. That's a huge decline. It's probably because the PHEV Outlander isn't the sort of be all and end all that people used to have, because you used to get a £3,500 grant on that, and it was the ultimate company car tax dodge. So maybe those are going down. The ASX has been reduced with a facelift to one engine only, and only a 2 litre naturally aspirated petrol. So I don't know what they're quite doing with that, but who knows. Nissan, they're down by 3.4%. Expect that to increase massively when that new Duke is launched. Not that I'm particularly looking forward to that, but it looks better than the old one. The old one is not good. You can look at my review about that. The current Duke is not a good car, unfortunately. Porsche, now they have the biggest increase of any manufacturer. They are up by 391.8%. 391.8%. I can only put that down to the fact that the new Taycan's coming out, which is electric. The new 911 is out. I don't know, but depending on a hybrid out there too. I'm not a Porsche expert, but you know, that's pretty good for them. Renault, they're down by 27.8%. Again, it could be, it's exactly the same as Dacia pretty much, so I don't know what's going on there. Seat, we're up by 10%. I see a 0% finance offer on Seat cars that has recently come out, so maybe it's to do with that. Skoda, they're down by 1.2%. Smart, biggest decrease of all. Worse than Infiniti, down by 86%. I wouldn't be surprised if Smart just gets pulled out of Britain entirely now. SsangYong, now they have launched the new Corando. I know Planet Auto had one of those recently. That looks like a great car, actually. I'm looking forward to driving one myself. I'd be more interested in the petrol than the diesel one that they drove, but, you know, it looks like a great car. SsangYong actually sold less than 100 cars last month, which isn't great. I presume that, you know, cars just the customers haven't arrived yet. But yeah, it's not the most exciting sales figures for them. Subaru, they're down by 34.9%. I think their cars are quite nice. I just think they've got quite poor fuel consumption and they're quite expensive. There's lots of gadgets in them and they're quite robust and reliable, but for whatever reason, they sell a lot better in America than they do here. Toyota, they're up by 3.6%. Again, I'm sure that new Corolla hybrid is doing well for them. Vauxhall, they're down by 36.4%. Now, the only Vauxhall that seems to get into the top 10 regularly is the Corsa, and that sometimes is like number 2 or 3. The old Corsa, having been essentially in production since 2006, with a major facelift in 2014, I think probably is coming off sale now, whereas they get ready for the new one to come out. And given how many they sold last month, which is a huge amount, in September, it's a huge amount in September, so I presume that's only to do with that. Volkswagen, they are up by 4.9%, which is good considering how old the Golf is. Volvo, they're down by 18%. I don't particularly know why that is, but there we go. And that's it. Tesla doesn't actually figure in these statistics. For some reason, they don't actually register as a make, which is really stupid, but they must be doing okay as well, I suppose. So I hope you found that video to be informative. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Please visit my website. It's www.lloydvehicleconsulting.co.uk. If you should get in touch, if you want to get in touch with me, I should say, there's a contact tab on the front page of the website there. I've also got a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. Thank you ever so much indeed for watching.